Alright, and welcome back to the Girls Soccer Power Rankings. First video edition. You obviously saw the first print edition. Not a lot has changed. I know I can speak for a lot of coaches and a lot of athletes in the area. We're just happy playing soccer. Obviously there's some question marks, why, if we're going to play, why, and all that stuff. Well, fortunately we're just glad. Obviously there's some limited audiences and stuff like that. A lot of schools are going to the simulcast and putting it on YouTube. That's awesome. Obviously with the Girls Soccer Power Rankings, not a lot has changed from the print edition to this edition. We've had some great starts from Jillian Newland from Smithville. The young lady's chasing 100 goals. She's got 8 goals and 3 assists so far. Having a fantastic start to her season. A year ago, Sydney Poland from Loudonville. She was lighting up the nets. She is going to be a key part of why Loudonville has success when they do this year. And she so far has not disappointed. She's done a great job lighting up the net and playing a key role in that Loudonville attack. The reality is if you're the Redbirds and you're trying to be successful going forward, you need to continue finding ways to get the ball to the feet of Sydney Poland and enabling her to either one, set up the offense, or two, be able to create and win one-on-one battles. In the power rankings, we're going to start out at number 5. Got your Northwestern Huskies, a team who a year ago was so much different. You're talking Allie Candle, you're talking Sasha McConaughey, you're talking about, Kaylee Smith, you're talking about Brian Schaaf. You're talking a whole loss of people that had a huge impact, or in many ways were the face of the Husky program. Brian Schaaf is by far the most tactful coach in the area in terms of what he knows the game, and he was one of those coaches that he did an excellent job in putting his team in a position to win. And that's, as a coach, that's your responsibility. Brian, he understood that each game you have to adjust to what was going on, and that's what he did just an incredible job of. Obviously, we're going to find out whether or not Coach Weller can do that for the Huskies going forward. Obviously, with the losses of Sasha McConaughey and Allie Candle, the Huskies lost a lot in the spine of that attack. They do return Bree Troyan, who's a third of that spine. Bree, a year ago, was tremendous. Obviously, she'll be looked upon this year to continue to expound on that role, continue to be a very big focal point. Obviously, they got Florida Blake, who was a promising young freshman a year ago, played more forward. I'm sure now Coach Weller is, and I think a lot of people in the soccer world would think that she's going to slide back a little bit more, play more of an attack mid, because with her foot skills, you want the ball to touch her feet more often. At Northwestern, they also have other weapons over there. They have AJ and Lindsey Smith. They got Emma Nicholson. They got Tori Thompson. They have a lot of weapons. It's going to be the big key going forward is what does Coach Weller do to put his team in position to win and to be able to match up with teams like Chippewa, like Norwayne, like Smithville, like Waynedale going forward. It's going to be up to him to figure out how he can assemble those pieces. Your Huskies are currently 2-1, 0-1 to start in the Wayne County Athletic League. You obviously know they took a loss to Chippewa. Not a totally unexpected outcome. Let's face it, Chippewa is loaded. They're stacked. Not very many teams can boast having 30-some plus girls on the varsity up for the soccer program and be able to fill out a whole entire 22-woman varsity roster. At number 4, your Highland Hawks. Currently the record's 2-3-1. It may not resemble a number 4 team, but look who they lost to. They lost number 1 Chippewa. Get my hats off, my hats off to Connor Lee for going out there and playing those type of teams early in the season, especially when you haven't had scrimmages. But he went out there and he faced Chippewa, he faced a top contender in Grandview Heights, who's an incredibly good team. He took on Mansfield Christian. All 3 were losses. The Hawks were outscored 13-0 during that stretch. But they did turn around and they handled Smithville. They beat Smithville. They handled Waynedale. They outscored both those teams 5-1. They had a tie with Riverview. This is a program, if you were at that Chippewa game, which I was pretty impressed. I've definitely heard a lot about Gabby Schleybaum and what she can do up top. The reality is she did not disappoint. She's got some incredible foot skills. She was able to create in space, and she was able to kind of find ways. She was able to find holes in that Chippewa defense that I think if you had a chance to scout, that's definitely something you're going to be looking forward to going as coaches go forward. She did a great job, being able to drive down the wing and be able to cross the ball. I thought Highland did a really good job against Chippewa and putting together some combinations. They may not have scored, but you know what? They've made some very, very dangerous runs against that Chip defense. So far, Schleybaum leads the team with 4 assists. Also, you got Paige Gertz with 3 goals. Etzal Guzman, the goalkeeper for Highland. I can tell you right now, I walked away from that game incredibly impressed by this young lady. You know, if she doesn't play the game that she plays, that game could have been easily a 5, 6, 7 goal game easily. You know, but you know, what Guzman did in terms of her ability to come out, her decision making, you know, do I stay on my line? Do I choose to come out and attack? Do I choose to try to narrow the gap? What do I have to do? And she made some very quick, decisive decisions. It was a big game for the young lady. You know, hopefully she continues going forward throughout this year. She just continues building off that. And number 3, your Worcester Generals. Obviously, they have one of the most talented young sophomores coming back in Christy Franson. Who's the only issue for Worcester is that Franson's been hurt for most of the year. She did play in one game against Clear Fork, which she scored the game-winning goal. Let me put it this way: if there's one person in this area that knows how to find the back of the net, it's Christy Franson. So far in her absence, Sydney Eben and Raya Robinson have really stepped up, done a great job. Grace Castores in the net, tremendous. Your Worcester Generals do have an upcoming test on the 10th against Ashland. Worcester Ashland's always a very, very good matchup. At number 2 and number 1, I kind of want to take a moment here to just kind of say, you know, when we're looking at number 2 and number 1, you're talking two incredible teams. It's like splitting hairs. It's really, really difficult to be able to, you know, decide who is number 1, who's number 2. Obviously, I don't think there's much of a difference. The reason is, you know, I'm going to go into it here a little bit about Norwayne. I think Norwayne has, in my personal opinion, they have the most complete offensive player in the area in Bryn Mawr. This young lady a year ago was incredible. Her speed is amazing. Her speed poses so many issues. But defenses, I thought a year ago, started kind of figuring her out a little bit to a point. They started kind of trying to force her to that far post, near post, so they could, letting her use her speed to and using that post as a second defender. You know, that's something I expect Bryn to kind of realize, and I expect Bryn to continue to build on, and she's going to learn from. You know, Bryn's one of those players that her mission, her desire, and her passion to win, it outweighs a lot, and I think it's going to be a big key for Norwayne. If Norwayne has any chance of beating Chippewa, it's going to be on the likes of the leaders like Bryn Mawr, who, like I said earlier, is, I believe, is hands down the most complete offensive player coming back this year. That's not really a question. And the other part that makes Norwayne so incredibly good, Chloe DePlaga in the net, who is by far, hands down, no questions, you can't even argue the point, she is the best returning goalkeeper in the area. When you have the best returning goalkeeper, one in the net, you got Bryn Mawr, the best returning offensive player, the other in the net. The big question is, what do you have in the middle? And that's, I think, where Chippewa might have the edge. You know, I mean, for Norwayne, for Coach Jason Zimmerly, he's got Shelby Vaughn, the young freshman, who's really coming up, and that's going to be a great piece to have there, opposite of Bryn Mawr, to kind of, you know, take some pressure off of Bryn. 1, 2, you can play off that as well. You know, Chippewa is going to focus in on Bryn. They're going to try to eliminate her, try to, you know, force her and isolate her chances down, which potentially opens up chances for other players like, you know, Shelby Vaughn, like Leah Rufner and all them to find the back of the net. Mawr so far has scored 4 goals and had 1 assist. Shelby Vaughn has scored 4 goals. 7 other players in the team have already counted with an assist or a goal. Great start. Chloe DePlaga is averaging 0.5 goals allowed and 1 shutout. At number 1, obviously, your Chippewa Chips. Like I said, Chippewa has got so much depth. They also returned Sydney Barnett, who I think is just an incredible player. In terms of the center of the pitch, she might be one of your top players in the center. I think she is one of the top returning players in terms of what she can do. Obviously with Chippewa, they're moving her up the pitch a little bit, giving her a chance a little bit more to be more involved in the focal point of the attack. I think she's really excited about that opportunity. I think she poses such a big problem for opposing teams with just the intelligence that she brings, the experience, and obviously her God-given athletic ability and what she can do. She's just an incredible player. Also, the other thing with Chippewa, they pose so many other issues in terms of their speed, their athleticism, what they can do. They play a very high pressure attack, and you know what? I thought that was a big key against Highland. They're able to kind of get in Highland's grill early. They're able to kind of, you know, force the issue, and that's what they're going to try to do with everybody. Obviously, there's some changes that Chippewa may look to do on the backside because Highland was able to find some success with the combinations. Who knows? Obviously, the season's about changing, evolving, and you know, if there's any coach out there that can do that, it's going to be Coach Coney and her coaching staff, Mary Kay Hayjack and all them, they figure out what they got to do and they make it happen. The young ladies in Chippewa, they all, they've kind of grown with this program. They understand, it's always team over self, and that's what these young ladies do so well. Well, there you have your power rankings, top 5. Like I said, when it comes down to be people to teams in the top 5, I really just I talk to people and I tell people it's not just about who you beat. It's not about just the fact you beat somebody, I should say. It's more about who you beat, the quality of opponent they are. I would much rather teams you have a tough good loss than a glitzy horrific great win, if that makes any sense. Those are things that do matter. Do you score 5 goals against a team that you probably shouldn't be on the field against late in the game? Or do you score 1 goal against a tough Chippewa defense or a tough Norway defense or a tough Highland defense? I mean, that was the thing also, I walked with in that Highland game. That Highland defense is very organized. That's a very disciplined team by Coach Connor Lee, a very good team. And, I think the Highland, like I said, they're much better than the record will ever indicate. So, once again, to all the area teams, best of luck, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll be seeing you soon here on a local soccer pitch.